Hi everyone, it's Katrina. Number 10. The Alpine Refuge. In the natural park of the Ampezzo Dolomites, located 8,858 feet above sea level, there is an unbelievable bunker. The bunker has been abandoned for decades, originally used as a refuge for the Italians during World War I. The mysterious structure is embedded in a steep rock face on the side of a mountain. The only way it can be reached is by scaling almost vertically up a mountainside, which is not a simple thing to do. You can't even hike to it because it really does require a vertical climb. You need to be Spider-Man just to get in through the front door. It's incredible that the bunker exists at all. Italian soldiers supposedly carved the thing out of the mountain in 1915. Men would have been clinging to the side of the rock face while working with heavy tools just to carve a big enough cavern to hold the structure. Then they would have had to haul supplies up the mountain to build it. Amazingly, they succeeded. And over 100 years later, the Alpine Refuge is still standing. It has a slanted tin roof, brick walls, and even 4 glass windows framed with solid wood. It was occupied by Italian soldiers during the White War, the battle in the mountains between Italy and Austro-Hungary. Number 9. Peanut Island. On Peanut Island in Florida, there is a secret bunker that was built specifically for John F. Kennedy. It was built in 1961 to shelter the former president in the case of a nuclear attack. If the Soviets dropped a nuclear bomb on America and JFK happened to be in Florida at the time, he would have been whisked away to this secret underground shelter. JFK had a private winter White House on Palm Beach where he liked to spend the colder months. And if by chance he was relaxing in the sun when a nuclear war started, he needed a nearby bunker fit for a president. As of 2019, the bunker was in pretty rough shape. It's still a viable option for anyone escaping a catastrophic event, although it is a bit outdated. It's still filled with old electrical equipment from the Cold War era. The passages haven't been swept out in a while, and the whole place is filled with dust. The presidential seal, stamped on the center of the floor in the main room, is still bright and colorful as ever. It's not clear exactly what will become of the bunker. It's been abandoned for decades, and the entrance, a door going through some corrugated pipe like a sewer drain, is totally overgrown and nearly invisible. Number 8. The bunker in the woods. An oddly terrifying and mysterious bunker has just been found in the Michigan woods. Somebody found it in the summer of 2022, about 1 mile inside the Rogue River State Game Area. It was hidden in the forest and looked like it had been built quite recently. The person who found it, a man from Kent County who wishes to remain anonymous, said it looked as though it had been created by a militia group as a private training ground. The bunker was hardly sophisticated, little more than a dugout with a reinforced wall made of sandbags. The area where it was found is extremely remote enough that GPS doesn't even work. It's about 50 yards off an old trail going through the maple and oak trees. The individual who found it, when bringing reporters to take a look at it, almost couldn't find it again. But he did, and the story has been picked up by just about every news network in America. The truly bizarre thing is that it took a lot of effort to make. Somebody dragged about 100 heavy sandbags into the forest and dug a huge pit in the shape of a bunker, like what you would have seen during the trench warfare of World War I. There's a fire pit in the middle and enough space for a small platoon of men. Sandbags line the bunker as if whoever built the thing was expecting to be shot at. The concerned citizen phoned the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. They told him to call the FBI, and the FBI told him to call the local police. He was finally put through to the Michigan Department of Natural Resources, who said they would dismantle the structure. However, nobody will do anything to investigate who built the bunker or what strange plans they may have had. Number 7. From the Roman Empire to Nazi Germany. During World War II, the only piece of British land the Nazi soldiers occupied was Alderney Island, a small piece of land in the English Channel. Hitler was extremely proud of having even a small piece of Britain, and so he had the Nazis build a series of fortifications on the island. One of the bunkers they built was constructed over the ruins of an old Roman fortress. Nazis occupied the territory from between June of 1940 until May of 1945. According to archaeologist Jason Monaghan, the Nazi troops realized it would be easier to incorporate their own bunkers into the ruins than to build totally new ones. Archaeologists recently inspected this curious conglomeration of structures. They found mysterious walls intersecting one another, multiple floors from many eras stacked like dinner plates, and drainage systems that may have been from the war or from the days of when Rome ruled England. The Romans were the first to build a military outpost on the island at the end of the 4th century. That was right around the time their control over Britain was coming to an end. One of the greatest features of the fortification was crenellations, which became a staple in later medieval castles. Crenellations are battlements used in defensive architecture, like in city walls or castles. But the fortification was abandoned. The island was forsaken for over 1,000 years, and then archaeologists found it in the 1930s. But before any excavations could be finished, the Nazis invaded and turned the Roman fortress into their own personal bunker. Number 6. Battery Cooper. The Battery Cooper bunker is carved into the side of a mountain on Oahu in Hawaii. It's a coastal defensive shelter that has served many functions in the past. It was once used to protect people in distress, and it was later used as a movie set, and it's currently a museum. After the attack on Pearl Harbor by the Japanese on December 7, 1941, military installations began taking shape all over Hawaii. The United States military rented land in Oahu from a ranch, built an airstrip, and installed several bunkers and batteries. These were designed to prevent Japanese planes from ever flying through the valley again. The largest of the bunkers still remaining is Battery Cooper. It was built in 1943 and has 150-foot-long concrete tunnels leading to various gun positions. The bunker is truly massive and was a major part of the coastal defense program. Soldiers could spot incoming planes, send men to the guns, and send a barrage of bullets at any Japanese aircraft within range. These days, the bunker is still in amazing shape. It's a popular tourist spot, an educational museum, and a living piece of military history. Number 5. Grandma's Secret Bunker. In Grand Rapids, Michigan, a family recently made an unbelievable discovery when a fun day in the backyard turned into an archaeological excavation. Sounds like my kind of day. Lara LeBrier and her 2 sons spent spring break in Grand Rapids visiting Lara's mother, Yvonne. They had gone all the way from Arkansas just to see her. For fun, they brought a metal detector, thinking they might find some treasure while on vacation. In March of 2022, they took the metal detector into Grandma's backyard and started looking for lost relics. Right away, Lara knew something strange was going on. The metal detector was going off like crazy, almost as if they were standing on a single sheet of metal. Lara chose a spot and started digging, found an old shoehorn, some shotgun shells, and an ancient belt buckle. Then she hit brick, found some small bottles of alcohol, and thought she had dug her way into a bunker from Prohibition. As it turns out, Grandma's house was built in 1888, making it one of the oldest houses in the area still standing. The mysterious hole in the ground may have been anything from the former kitchen of the house to a secret booze bunker during the days when alcohol was outlawed in America. Number 4. Nuclear Cannibal Ants. In 2013, it was discovered that an abandoned Soviet bunker in Poland, allegedly once used for stockpiling nuclear weapons, was the site of cannibalistic activity. The cannibals weren't humans, but rather tiny insects. Scientists found a colony of ants living in the nuclear bunker, a colony so big they could have easily consumed a fully grown human had they been given the opportunity. That is, assuming the human had laid down and let themselves be eaten. What the scientists found truly strange about the gigantic ant colony was that they had no food to eat. They were trapped in a supposedly nuclear bunker, an old remnant from the days of Soviet occupation, and they had no food. They appeared to have fallen in through a ventilation pipe and then never found their way out. The researchers left the ants to their fate and came back 3 years later to see if they were still around. Surprisingly, the number of ants had grown. The researchers then realized the ants were surviving by eating each other. The team found that there was a steady stream of worker ants still falling through the ventilation shaft, and that to survive, the ants had resorted to cannibalism. This allowed the entire colony to survive. This time, the scientists added an escape route for the ants. They built a kind of boardwalk going from the bunker to the surface, and that way the ants could finally escape back into the wild. Number 3. Lost Scottish Bunker. 40 years ago, a man named Kit Roger and his group of friends found an underground bunker while roaming through a forest in Scotland. The discovery was part of a boyhood adventure, something discovered by a bunch of youngsters while they were exploring the rural countryside. Fast forward to adulthood, Kit Roger is a survey technician for Forest and Land Scotland. He recently returned to the site to see if he could find the bunker once again. Of course, his memory was pretty blurry considering how much time had passed. But sure enough, he and a colleague searched through the forest until they finally came across a shallow trench. There was the bunker door, hidden underneath overgrown bushes. Kit cleared away the debris and explored the bunker just like he did when he was young. And after he left, he did some research to see what the history was behind this place. Kit learned that the bunker was built during World War II. Its purpose was to house a very secret unit of British citizens who were tasked with defending the homeland at all costs. The secret militia based here was part of an unofficial army expected to fight to the death. They were put into these bunkers, which were buried all across the country, just in case the Nazis succeeded in their invasion. If the Nazis had arrived on English soil, the civilian militia were to begin a guerrilla offensive against them from their secret buried shelters. Number 2. The Cuban Missile Crisis. Archaeologists were recently documenting the remains of bunkers left behind from the era of the Cuban Missile Crisis. All along the Cuban coast were bunkers and trenches, preparing for the day the United States would invade and take over the island. The fear of invasion and the fear of nuclear war spiked in October of 1962 for 13 days, as Russian nuclear-capable ships sat off the coast of Cuba with their nukes ready to fire. It was the closest the world has ever come to nuclear war, and the closest in the modern age Cuba ever came to being brutally invaded by the United States. While the researchers were looking through the bunkers, they came across a disturbing piece of graffiti. Somebody, most likely a Cuban soldier, wrote on the wall that they would fight to the very end if war broke out and the Americans landed on the island. It was a stark warning and goes to show the mentality of the communist Cuban soldiers in the 1960s. Thankfully, no nuclear weapons were launched and the US never invaded. Some have argued the embargo was just as bad, crippling Cuba's economy for all the years to come. But at least there was never an invasion. The trenches and bunkers built along the island's coast were slowly abandoned. It became clear that nobody was coming to fight, and the bunkers were left to decay. Many are still there, with their tunnels and passages connecting each crumbling bunker to the next. Some are in good shape, but others have already started falling into the sea. Number 1. Mount Yamantau. Mount Yamantau is a mysterious bunker hiding deep in the remote Ural Mountains of Russia. The mountain itself is the highest point in the southern Ural, and the bunker supposedly hiding underneath its rocky peaks is similar to the Cheyenne Mountain complex in the United States. Although we don't have definitive proof of anything suspicious happening here, rumors have been circulating for decades. The United States claims the mountain is home to one of the largest secret nuclear facilities in all of Russia. Satellite images after the fall of the Soviet Union revealed massive excavation projects here. There were at least 2 military garrisons in the 1990s, along with rail lines for bringing supplies to and from the mountain. In response to these accusations, the Russian government has claimed everything from Yamantau being a mining site to a secret vault of treasure. They have never disclosed the truth, and to this day, we don't know what kind of sketchy activity is happening inside the mountain. Thanks for watching! If you found a secret bunker in your backyard, what would you do? Let me know in the comments below, and remember to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. See you soon. Bye!